Institutions of national government, welcome back. Selecting federal judges. So how do they end up on the Supreme Court or federal courts in general? They are almost always from the same party as the president. So our judicial branch, it is supposed to be our non-political branch. But guess what? If right now when Obama's president, he's pretty much going to pick judges from his party, whereas George Bush, Republicans, they pick judges from their party. So there is some politics to it. So that right there is Sonia Sotomayor. She's a Democrat, and she was Obama's nominee for the Supreme Court. So the way that it works, the president nominates somebody, and then they are subject to Senate confirmation. A simple majority in the Senate is all it takes. But remember, there's filibusters and holds. So when the president nominates somebody, he cannot just nominate absolutely anybody. He needs to make sure that it is somebody that the Senate is willing to confirm. So when he nominates, he has to take that into consideration. So moderates, typically. Even though they're from his party, it'll be a moderate Democrat usually, or a moderate Republican. So the Senate confirming, first step of that process, it goes to the Senate Judiciary Committee, and they investigate that person's background, and they hold hearings. You can see a picture of Sonia Sotomayor's Senate Judiciary Committee hearings, in which they asked her tons and tons and tons of questions for a couple of days, and then they decided she was okay, and then they confirmed her and allowed her to become a Supreme Court justice. All right, there is one kind of way around that process, the way that it does work, and that is to make use of recess appointments. And you can see in that chart, Reagan did a lot of these, Bush did a lot of these, Obama not so many. And what it is, it's when the president nominates judges while Congress is in recess. So they are not there. They are out of session. Remember, this is not for Supreme Court justices. This is lower courts only. So federal judges, district court judges, Court of Appeals judges. So the purpose of it is that there's vacancies. The president should be able to fill them, so we don't have all these empty spots in the court. However, sometimes the president might do this in order to fill vacancies with judges that might not be able to get confirmed by the Senate. So you nominate some judges that are very liberal or very conservative, depending on which party you are. You know that the Senate wouldn't have confirmed those if you'd asked them to. So you go ahead and do it while they aren't there, and they can't stop you from doing it. So recess appointments are pretty heavily criticized. The judges that are appointed via the recess appointments, they serve for 1 year, and then they must be confirmed by the Senate within that same year in order to keep that position. So it doesn't just let them have the job forever, but it is a way for the president to take a little bit more power and control over this process. All right, there's also something known as a litmus test. Those of you, anybody should be familiar with this from science. Basic idea of trying to find out whether something is a base or an acid. So you see the litmus paper in there, and then it turns color, and then you know, okay, base or acid. It's kind of like that with judges. They want to make sure that the judges that they nominate actually believe the same as them. If you are a conservative president, you don't want to accidentally nominate a judge who ends up being more liberal than you think he or she is. So you want people that are like you ideologically. So you want to make sure that on specific issues that are most important to you, whether it's death penalty, pro-life, pro-choice issues, affirmative action, you want to know that those judges feel the same way you do about those things. So George Bush, he nominated John G. Roberts on the right and Alito on the left, two conservative justices that agree with Bush on those major issues. All right, the Supreme Court receives what is known as tenure. It means that they have a life term. They cannot be fired or have their pay reduced. So they are there for life. And this is actually a little bit old. The Supreme Court's a little bit different today than it was in that picture. But that is generally it. There's one difference. That guy with the bow tie, he's gone. He was replaced by Elena Kagan. But anyway, so they cannot be fired or have their pay reduced. Again, the reason for that is so that they won't have to be worried about politics. Another thing is called strategic retirements. That guy with the bow tie, here he is. This is when a judge retires when the president is somebody from their party. So that man, that is John Paul Stevens is his name, and he is a Democrat. He served on the Supreme Court for a long time, a couple decades. And he decided to retire when Obama was president because he knew that Obama would then replace him with another Democrat, and he did. That's Elena Kagan. that he nominated, and she was confirmed. So the idea here is that you don't want to be replaced by a Republican. If you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, you don't want to be replaced by a Democrat. You want somebody who is similar to you to be replaced, to replace you on the court, to kind of keep up the things that you believe in, so you can kind of control that. Because otherwise, if you served until your death, there is a chance that maybe the president would be from the opposite party, and that could definitely change the balance of the Supreme Court. And that actually did happen in 1991, 1992, where a very liberal member of the court got sick, retired, and was replaced by a Republican, one of the most conservative members on the court. So that has had a major impact on the Supreme Court for the last 2 decades now. There's also something called senatorial courtesy. This takes place only at the district court level. It's when the president would ask a senator from a certain state with a district court vacancy to recommend judges to him. So that's Senator Bill Nelson for Florida on the right, kind of pasty looking. On the left is the map of Florida, our district courts. So we have 5 district courts within the state of Florida. And Obama could potentially ask Bill Nelson, hey, Senator, go ahead and give me a list of names of people who would be good for a vacancy on the 4th district court in Florida. And so he could do that. The criticism is that it reverses their constitutional roles because the president is supposed to nominate and the Senate is supposed to confirm, but this is kind of allowing it to go the opposite way. Again, this is a courtesy. The president does not have to do this.